Good afternoon. We're here today for a virtual town hall regarding an officer-involved shooting that occurred on Friday, May 19th, 2023, on the 100 block of Bosworth Street. Before proceeding, I'd like to announce to our viewing and listening audience that this town hall is being translated into Spanish, Cantonese, and American Sign Language, ASL, for members of our community who speak those languages. Without suggesting a premature judgment on the appropriateness of the force used in this particular incident, today's presentation will include details from an officer-involved shooting incident that tragically ended, claiming the life of 40-year-old Sergio Barrios. Before I go any further, I'd like to express my deepest condolences to Mr. Barrios' family for their loss. In the San Francisco Police Department, we recognize that our sworn duty as law enforcement officers imposes no more solemn obligation on us than to honor and respect the sanctity of human life. We also know that as police officers, we are sometimes required to use force, including deadly force at times, in the performance of our duties. We recognize, too, that officer-involved shootings can have a traumatic effect on members of our communities, especially for individuals, their families, and loved ones who have suffered traumas of their own encounters with the criminal justice system, wherever it may be. To any of our viewers experiencing trauma from this incident, or from the information or images that we will present during this town hall, please know that help is available to you. You may contact the San Francisco Department of Public Health's crisis line at 415-970-3800 for trauma services. With that, here's what we hope to accomplish today. First and foremost, in the San Francisco Police Department's aspiration to be a national model of 21st century policing, we work to earn the trust of those we serve by committing to transparency and to the tenets of procedural justice. In this process, and in this town hall presentation, procedural justice depends on the legitimacy of police as well as our entire criminal justice system. With these town halls, we work to embody the foundational tenets of what procedural justice is all about. We will release the facts known to us at this time about this incident. We will do so in a manner that is impartial and neutral. We will answer questions from members of the public as well as members of the news media, and we will listen to public feedback. Commander Paul Yep will be presenting the facts of this case in a few minutes. Before turning the floor over to him, however, I want to emphasize that in this incident, we are subject to multiple independent and ongoing investigations. As such, there may be some information we cannot release at this time, either because the release of certain information is prohibited by law, or because the release of certain information could compromise the ongoing investigation, or because certain facts have not yet been established with certainty. In other words, we are not able to release unconfirmed information. Next, Commander Paul Yep's presentation will include a detailed verbal narrative of the facts as we know them, as well as audio and video content from the officer-involved shooting incident. SFPD officers who responded to the scene were wearing department-issued body-worn cameras, which were activated at the time of the incident. Consistent with our body-worn camera policy, Department General Order 10.11, you will see body-worn camera video, or BWC video, from those officers from multiple perspectives. Private surveillance camera video footage, which captures parts of the incident, will be included in Commander Yep's presentation also. At the San Francisco Police Department, our commitment to full transparency has guided our officer-involved shootings investigations and town halls for several years now. Although our practices predate the enactment of many police transparency and accountability laws in California, we believe our approach has remained consistent with the letter and spirit of reforms implemented by Senate Bill 1421 for police transparency and Assembly Bill 1506 for police accountability. SFPD's commitment to transparency in this process will also be reflected in our release of information online. Video from this town hall, including the audio recordings, 911 calls, from dispatchers and video footage I just mentioned will be posted on SFPD's website at sanfranciscopolice.org. There, it will remain available in perpetuity for public viewing. San Francisco Police Department directives mandate that we release the name of officers from officer-involved shootings unless safety concerns argue against disclosure. In this matter, we've identified no safety concerns, and Commander Yep will release the name of the officer as part of his presentation. I would like to explain the investigative processes for an officer-involved shooting next. San Francisco has a multi-agency response to officer-involved shootings, and each agency's investigation is independent. Whether an officer-involved shooting occurs in San Francisco involving an on-duty San Francisco police officer, the following agencies are immediately notified. The San Francisco Police Department's Investigative Services Detail, or ISD, is the unit responsible for investigating the events that led up to the officer-involved shooting. In this case, the activity being investigated is a report of a burglary suspect armed with a firearm and the circumstances leading up to the officer-involved shooting. The SFPD's Internal Affairs Division, or IAD, is responsible for conducting an administrative investigation to determine if the officer or officers responsible for the officer-involved shooting are in compliance with the standards and requirements of SFPD policy. Although the investigation of both SFPD units run in parallel, each has a distinct investigative purview and focus. Each maintains a strict internal firewall to comply with legal standards and requirements. Next, the San Francisco Department of Police Accountability, or DPA, conducts an independent administrative investigation. San Francisco voters created DPA as a successor to the Office of Citizen Complaints with their passage of Proposition D in the June 2016 election. DPA investigates all SFPD incidents in which any of our officers discharge a weapon within the course and scope of their duties, and whenever that discharge results in an individual's injury or death. The San Francisco District Attorney's Office Independent Investigation Bureau, or IIB, is responsible for determining the legality of the officer-involved shooting. Based on their independent investigation and review, the District Attorney of the County of San Francisco will make the final decision as to whether the involved officer's actions comply with the laws of the state of California. The San Francisco Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, or OCME, has the responsibility for conducting an on-scene investigation, collecting evidence, and taking custody of the deceased person in any officer-involved shooting which results in a fatality. In tragic cases such as these, the OCME is responsible for conducting an autopsy to determine the decedent's cause of death and to report those findings publicly. In this incident, because Mr. Barrios died from his injuries, the OCME will conduct an investigation to determine the cause of death. In accordance with California State Assembly Bill 1506, which mandates that the California Department of Justice's Division of Law Enforcement, California Police Shooting Team, conduct a criminal investigation on an officer-involved shooting in certain circumstances, the California DOJ was notified. After a review of the preliminary evidence, investigators determined that the incident did not meet their criteria to assume investigative responsibility for this officer-involved shooting. All notified agencies dispatched investigators and appropriate personnel to begin their respective and independent investigations. Lastly, I'd like to point out that we take community feedback very seriously. Based on the feedback from prior officer-involved shooting town halls, we will also take questions and answer them to the extent we're able. Understanding that this incident remains an ongoing investigation, there may be questions that we will not be able to answer today. We will allocate 1 hour for public comment and questions and conclude this town hall at approximately 5:30 p.m. Thank you very much for joining us today. And now, Commander Paul Yep for his presentation.
Thank you, Chief Scott. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Commander Paul Yep of the Risk Management Office, and I will be providing a summary of an officer-involved shooting incident involving members of the San Francisco Police Department. The officer-involved shooting, or OIS incident, discussed in this presentation started on Friday, May 19th, 2023, at approximately 2:20 p.m. on the 100 block of Bosworth Street in San Francisco's Glen Park neighborhood. This incident involved uniformed patrol members of the San Francisco Police Department assigned to Ingleside Station and members assigned to the Special Operations Bureau. Of the 55 officers on scene during the OIS incident, 46 of the officers completed Crisis Intervention Team, or CIT, training. The officer who discharged their department-issued rifle has completed CIT training. Officers who are CIT trained have completed a 40-hour California Peace Officers and Standards Training, or POST, certified course which prepares them to respond to persons in crisis incidents and, as a team, formulate a plan, establish rapport, and use de-escalation tactics, including tactical repositioning and creating time and distance, whenever possible, to safely resolve person in crisis incidents. Of the officers on scene during the OIS incident, 47 have received Critical Mindset Coordinated Response, or CMCR training. All 4 of the officers who used force have completed CMCR training. CMCR is a 20-hour post-certified training course developed by the San Francisco Police Department's Field Tactics Force Options Unit, or FTFO. Training objectives include critical decision-making during high-risk incidents experienced while in the field. Officers develop necessary skill sets and gain a deeper understanding of how to resolve these incidents with a coordinated and tactically sound approach using teamwork and leadership. In this presentation, you will hear the following terminology and radio code language commonly used by officers. 221. 221 is police radio code for person with a gun. 459. 459 is police radio code for a burglary. Bearcat. A Bearcat is an armored rescue vehicle used to provide protection from gunfire for officers and community members during rescue, critical incidents, and other hazardous situations. These vehicles allow officers closer access to high-risk situations while substantially reducing the physical risk to the officers and to others. BWC is body-worn camera. Code 33. Code 33 is police radio code for an emergency, clear the radio channel. Crisis Hostage Negotiations Team is often referred to as CHNT, whose members are on-call specialized officers and sergeants trained to assist in resolving through communication the following types of incidents: crisis and hostage situations, barricaded individuals, high-risk suicide threats, and high-risk warrant service. Critical incident. A critical incident is a life-threatening situation that requires a coordinated tactical response in a specific location. Examples include barricaded individuals, hostage situations, and sniper situations. Command post. A command post is often referred to as the CP. An operational command post is also referred to as OCP. The command post is the location established by the operational commander, who is a source of command authority, decisions, and media information. Dispatch. Dispatch is the Department of Emergency Management dispatcher and radio communications system. extended range impact weapon, or ERIW. They are less lethal force options. Specialist team and tactical unit members use this weapon to deploy a projectile, such as a 40-millimeter foam baton or pepper ball chemical agent. ERIWs are designed to temporarily incapacitate an individual. OIS. OIS is an officer-involved shooting. Public safety statement. The public safety statement is information obtained by a supervisor from an officer who utilized lethal force at an officer-involved shooting. Questions are intended to determine existing threats to public safety and identify transitory evidence that must be preserved. The scope of this statement is limited to the collection of such critical, fleeting information in the immediate aftermath of these critical incidents. It is the department's policy to deactivate body-worn cameras before obtaining public safety statements, and the policy instructs the supervisor to remind involved officers not to discuss the incident further at the scene. Red light. When feasible, officers deploying an ERIW projectile announce to other officers their intent to use the ERIW by stating, red light, less lethal, less lethal. The specialist team is an on-call specialized unit, often referred to as SPECs, within the Special Operations Bureau, consisting of patrol officers and sergeants trained in responding to high-risk incidents. The tactical unit is a full-time specialized unit, often referred to as TAC or SWAT, within the Special Operations Bureau, trained in responding to high-risk incidents. Tactical emergency medics are San Francisco Fire Department members embedded with the San Francisco Police Department's tactical unit to immediately render medical aid at the scene of critical incidents, active shooters, and high-risk warrant service. Third-party intermediary, or TPI, is a person such as a friend or family member used by the crisis hostage negotiation team to communicate with the individual in crisis through a recorded message. The precise chronology of this incident is currently under investigation. The times presented are approximate. The following is a summary of the events as they are understood as of today and may evolve as further information is learned through the investigation. As of Friday, May 26, 2023, we believe the facts are as follows. At approximately 2:20 p.m., the Department of Emergency Management dispatched SFPD officers from Ingleside Station to a call for service regarding a burglary suspect armed with a firearm on the 100 block of Bosworth Street. The incident occurred at a multi-unit property. On the first floor of the property is a commercial space. On the second floor of the property are multiple apartment units. At the rear of the building is a basement that was converted to an apartment. Body-worn camera video footage from responding Ingleside Station officers began as they met with the 911 caller on the 100 block of Cuvier Street. The 911 caller stated on scene that they were the victim of a burglary. The 911 caller told officers that the suspect was still at the basement level apartment and armed with a firearm. As seen on body-worn camera footage, the 911 caller pointed to the metal sliding door leading to a breezeway on the back of the property, which is the back entrance to this commercial space. The 911 caller stated they believed the suspect was behind the green door under the stairs in that area. The 911 caller identified the suspect as Sergio Milton Barrios at the scene. officers established a perimeter around the property. One of the officers recognized Mr. Barrios' name as being involved in a previous incident in 2021 at this location. In that incident, Mr. Barrios shot and killed his own dog. Officers who had previously interacted with Mr. Barrios in 2021 recalled using Spanish as a primary language to communicate with him. The initial officer on scene during this current incident is a qualified San Francisco Police Department bilingual Spanish-speaking officer. At approximately 2:40 p.m., officers maneuvered a patrol vehicle in close proximity to the property and began giving commands to Mr. Barrios in both English and Spanish over a public address system. There was no apparent response. At approximately 2:50 p.m., San Francisco Fire Department medics arrived on scene and staged on Bosworth Street. At approximately 3:33 p.m., approximately 1 hour and 13 minutes after police were dispatched, a critical incident was declared and a command post was established on the 100 block of Bosworth Street. Additional resources, including the SFPD's tactical unit, the Crisis Hostage Negotiations Team, and additional medical personnel were requested to respond to this incident. At the request of officers on scene, Mr. Barrios' family members provided information in a continued attempt to communicate with him. Officers attempted to contact Mr. Barrios again by utilizing the PA system. There was no apparent response. At approximately 3:49 p.m., Mr. Barrios exited the lower basement apartment and stepped out onto the breezeway of the property. Officers observed him holding a vodka bottle containing a clear liquid in his left hand and a silver handgun in his right hand. Officers observing Mr. Barrios in the breezeway issued commands to drop the firearm. Mr. Barrios complied with the commands and threw the firearm onto the ground a few feet in front of him. Throughout this incident, Mr. Barrios remained in close proximity to the firearm for approximately 2 hours. Mr. Barrios threw a set of keys on top of the firearm. Mr. Barrios appeared to be listening to music, manipulating his cell phone, and drinking from 2 alcohol bottles. Officers continued to give Mr. Barrios commands in Spanish to move away from the firearm. The tactical unit maneuvered the Bearcat to the 100 block of Cuvier Street. The qualified bilingual officer entered the Bearcat and utilized a PA system to continue issuing commands to Mr. Barrios in Spanish. The officer is heard on body-worn camera video footage telling Mr. Barrios to not go for the gun and that he wants to help him. This officer continually issued commands to Mr. Barrios for approximately 1 hour and 10 minutes. Crisis Hostage Negotiations Team members arrived on scene and joined the qualified bilingual officer in the Bearcat to assist in negotiations. Family members on scene told the Crisis Hostage Negotiations Team that Mr. Barrios had a close relationship with a specific family member. The Crisis Hostage Negotiations Team obtained a voice-recorded message from this family member in Spanish and played it from a PA system to Mr. Barrios, who did not respond. The tactical unit deployed an iRobot, which is a remote-controlled device equipped with a camera, into the breezeway. This device provided a live stream video feed to the Crisis Hostage Negotiations Team. The qualified bilingual officer attempted to call Mr. Barrios on his cell phone, but he did not answer. The same officer then used the PA system and directed Mr. Barrios to answer his cell phone. The officer attempted to call Mr. Barrios twice. Mr. Barrios did not answer the phone calls. The crisis hostage negotiations team played another voice message from Mr. Barrios' family member over the PA system. Mr. Barrios did not react to it. An officer on scene signaled to let the crisis hostage negotiations team know that Mr. Barrios may not be able to hear the PA system because he was wearing headphones. The crisis hostage negotiations team members and the qualified bilingual officer exited the Bearcat and moved to a position directly behind members of the Special Operations Bureau to give direct de-escalation commands in Spanish. A crisis hostage negotiations team member played the voice message from Mr. Barrios' family member again to attempt to de-escalate the situation. While remaining near the firearm, Mr. Barrios removed his rosary and held it in his hand. Multiple officers on scene appeared concerned about Mr. Barrios' actions and were heard on body-worn cameras saying, quote, "He is taking off his rosary beads," end quote. The qualified bilingual officer told Mr. Barrios to stand up and walk towards the officers. Mr. Barrios raised his index finger and moved it side to side. The qualified bilingual officer is heard on body-worn camera video saying, quote, "I told him to get up and walk backwards towards us. He said no. He held up his fingers saying no," end quote. At one point, Mr. Barrios was holding a wine bottle in his left hand and a vodka bottle in his right hand. Mr. Barrios raised each bottle to his mouth and appeared to drink from them. The crisis hostage negotiations team gave continuous commands and offers of help to Mr. Barrios in Spanish through the qualified bilingual officer. Mr. Barrios removed his headphones, and an officer on scene could hear music coming from Mr. Barrios' cell phone. The crisis hostage negotiations team continued to give him commands in Spanish through the qualified bilingual officer. Mr. Barrios was seen holding a folded dollar bill containing an unknown substance. Officers on scene believed the substance was a form of narcotics. Mr. Barrios then appeared to ingest the suspected narcotics. Officers are heard on body-worn cameras saying, quote, "He's got coke on a dollar bill. He's snorting coke right now," end quote. The qualified bilingual officer continued to give commands and offers for help to Mr. Barrios in Spanish. The qualified bilingual officer repeatedly told Mr. Barrios not to reach for the firearm. The crisis hostage negotiations team made a plan to utilize Mr. Barrios' family again to record another voice message. The goal was a continued effort to de-escalate and convince Mr. Barrios to move away from the firearm. Officers on scene observed Mr. Barrios' demeanor change shortly after ingesting the suspected narcotics through his nose. Mr. Barrios' behavior became more animated. Officers are heard on body-worn cameras saying, quote, "The coke is kicking in," end quote. A specialist team supervisor formulated and communicated a plan to the officers with the objective of distancing Mr. Barrios from the firearm. Mr. Barrios was observed ingesting more of the suspected narcotics through his nose. Officers are heard on body-worn camera video saying, quote, "He did another round of coke. He's snorting more cocaine," end quote. In order to de-escalate the situation, the qualified bilingual officer continued to give Mr. Barrios commands in Spanish. The crisis hostage negotiations team played another voice-recorded message from his family member over the PA system. the qualified bilingual officer told Mr. Barrios in Spanish that his family was outside and they were worried about him. Mr. Barrios replied, "My family, what family?" in Spanish. Mr. Barrios picked up the keys, which were touching the handle of the firearm that was still on the ground directly in front of him. Multiple officers on scene yelled, "No!" Mr. Barrios backed away from the firearm for a moment and leaned against the building. At 5:49 p.m., which was approximately 3 hours and 29 minutes after the officers were dispatched to the call for service, Mr. Barrios leaned over towards the firearm. Multiple officers yelled, "No," "Hey," and "Red light." Mr. Barrios then picked up the firearm. 4 officers used force at this time. Officer number 1 discharged their department-issued rifle. Officer number 2 deployed a 40-millimeter less lethal foam baton. Officer number 3 deployed a 40-millimeter less lethal foam baton. Officer number 4 deployed a pepperball chemical agent. At approximately 5:50 p.m., a designated team consisting of Special Operations Bureau members and the San Francisco Fire Department tactical emergency medics quickly moved towards Mr. Barrios to provide medical aid and take him into custody. Approximately 34 seconds after force was used, Mr. Barrios received medical attention. Mr. Barrios was transported by the San Francisco Fire Department to Zuckerberg San Francisco General Hospital, where he was later pronounced deceased. Additional information. The subject. The subject's name is Sergio Milton Barrios. His date of birth is May 10th, 1983. Evidence. Crime scene investigators from the San Francisco Police Department, Forensic Services Division, responded and processed physical evidence from the scene, including, but not limited to, the following: 1 .45 caliber semi-automatic pistol. The make is AMT. The model is a 1911 hardballer, loaded with 3 .45 caliber rounds of ammunition. There were 2 40-millimeter foam baton projectiles, 3 .223 cartridge casings, 1 vodka bottle, and 1 wine bottle. Video footage and photographs. Officers on scene were wearing department-issued body-worn cameras, which were activated at the time of the incident and recorded the events as they unfolded. Security cameras owned by a private party recorded video footage of the incident that was later provided as evidence to the San Francisco Police Department and the San Francisco District Attorney's Independent Investigations Bureau. Any other relevant video footage or photographs can be provided to the San Francisco Police Department Investigative Services Detail and/or to the San Francisco District Attorney's Independent Investigations Bureau using the following phone number: 415-575-4444. Witnesses. Multiple eyewitnesses of the incident were interviewed by the San Francisco Police Department's Investigative Services Detail and the San Francisco District Attorney's Independent Investigations Bureau. Any other witnesses are encouraged to contact the San Francisco Police Department and San Francisco District Attorney's Independent Investigation Bureau at 415-575-4444 4444. Involved member. The San Francisco Police Department officer who discharged their rifle in this incident is Officer Gregory Buhagiar, number 1277, a specialist team officer assigned to Northern Station. I will now be providing additional information in a multimedia format. In an effort to provide a transparent and comprehensive perspective of this incident, the SFPD will provide audio from the 911 call, body-worn camera videos, private surveillance camera video, crime scene investigation photos, maps, and related visual aids. Our presentation today consists of relevant known video and audio at this time, but is not intended to provide all photos, videos, or testimonial information related to this investigation. I will now provide a presentation of this incident using these multimedia resources. At select points, to increase the clarity for viewers, certain videos have been enhanced to allow for a better understanding of this incident. Please note that this presentation, the enhanced videos, and the unedited videos will all be available on the SFPD website immediately following this town hall event. Prior to the beginning of each segment, I will provide a brief description to orient the viewer to the time, place, and location of the content about to be shown. Viewer and listener discretion. You are about to see relevant video footage and learn about other evidence related to this case, so you can have a better understanding of what occurred based upon what we know right now. We are still in the very early stages of an administrative investigation that can take months to complete, and our understanding of the incident may change as additional evidence is collected and reviewed. We did not draw any conclusion as to whether the officers acted consistent with our policies and the law until all the facts are known and the investigation is complete. A word of caution. The images and information you are about to see and hear may be disturbing. When a police officer uses force to arrest a suspect or defend against attack, the images are graphic and may be difficult to watch. In addition, there may be strong language used by those in the video. Viewer discretion is advised, especially for young children and sensitive viewers. We encourage those in need of help to contact the San Francisco Department of Public Health crisis line at 415-970-3800. The 911 call. At approximately 2:20 p.m., the victim called 911, reporting a man with a gun had broken into his home. The audio clip you are about to hear is the 911 call made by the victim, provided by the San Francisco's Department of Emergency Management. The Department of Emergency Management provides dispatch services for the fire and police departments in San Francisco. The voice of the 911 caller has been distorted, and some personal information provided by the caller has been redacted to protect their privacy. We will now play the 911 call.
Friday.
San Francisco 911, what's the location of the emergency?
Emergency. There's a guy in my house. He has a gun. He's inside. He broke in my
What is
property.
the address? What is the address?
He's inside. He has a gun.
Repeat the address one more time just for verification. Okay, copy. Do you know what's the closest cross street?
Plus 3 Cuvier. Plus 2 Mission.
Are you outside right now?
I'm outside right now. He's inside.
Okay.
He's inside. Yes.
Okay. I need you to stay on the line for me, okay?
I'm here outside. I'm in the car right now. He's chasing me. I have to go.
So he broke into your house, is that correct?
He's inside right now. Yes. He's inside. He probably doesn't know that I saw it. I thought he was hiding.
Okay, so sir, I need you to stay calm. I have a call on the board. I need you to give me a description. You saw the gun also, is that
I
correct?
don't know. He has a red T-shirt. He lives in the building. He lives here.
So does he live in the building or he broke?
Yes, he lives in the building, but he broke in my house, my apartment. It's an apartment building.
Okay, what apartment number was that? Okay, what unit? What apartment number?
So
There
is
is
it
no
a house
number.
or apartment?
This is where he is.
Okay, copy. So let me get a description. So did you see the gun?
She has a gun.
Did you see it?
Yes.
Okay, what color was the gun? Do you know what type of gun?
I don't know, like brown.
Okay. What race is this person who broke in? White, black,
Spanish.
Russian, or... Okay. Male or female?
Male.
Okay, how old does he appear to be?
He's probably around 40.
40 years old. How tall is he?
Around 5'3".
5'3", heavy size, medium size, or thin build?
He's heavy.
What color shirt was he wearing? Did you say
Red.
shirt?
Red. I saw the red.
Copy.
Black
How about
pants.
his black pants. Besides the gun,
Yes.
did you see any weapons on him?
Yeah, I saw the weapon. He has a weapon.
Okay, I'm asking, beside the gun, did you see any other weapons?
No.
Okay. Okay, copy. What is your name? How do you spell your first name?
Is the police on the way?
Yes, they're on the way while I'm calling with you, getting the description they're driving.
Okay, I'm afraid he's inside. I'm here.
I understand. So I need you to stay away from the location. I need you to stay calm, and I need you to get me your phone number.
I need to see he's inside, okay? I need to
I
stay here
understand.
because...
So I need you to stay away. Don't go inside. We have
No.
officer responding.
No.
Okay,
No.
so give me your phone number. Do you know the name for this person?
Yes,
What is his name?
Milton. He has a record already.
Okay, what's his last name? Do you know his last name?
Probably Rivera.
Do you know how to spell it?
R-I-V as in Victor, E-R-A.
Okay, copy.
Rivera.
Okay, do you know his date of birth or any other information?
No. He's around 35, 40.
Okay, 35 to 40 years old. Okay, I got that information. So I'm going to let the officer are driving to this location. Some are going in lights and siren. I need you to flag down the officer when you see them.
I'm here.
Are you
Yes.
waiting outside?
I'm outside, yes.
Okay. Are you waiting inside the vehicle or?
Outside. I'm on the street in my car.
Okay.
I want to make sure if he leaves, I'm going to see him. I want to make sure where he is. But he's right now.
What's your license plate?
Mine?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What color is it?
And then I don't remember the first numbers.
What color is it?
Like
Color? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, make sure you flag down the officer when you see them, okay?
yes.
Okay, copy. I'll let them know, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. Take care. Anything change, your call us back, okay?
I'm trying to be calm.
Yes, okay, understand. We have
Just a
officer
minute,
driving.
just a minute, police here.
Okay.
Hold on.
Can you go meet with the officer?
Yes, hold on.
Okay.
Get inside. He has a gun. It's inside with a gun? Yes, with a gun. Yeah, for RC, subject's going inside with a phone.
Okay, I'll disconnect. I'll let the officer handle, okay, sir?
Yeah. The gate is open. Yeah, I'll show you. Get it right here, okay?
We will now provide a geographical map of Bosworth Street and Cuvier Street, as well as enhanced graphics to display the general area of the incident. The map will show a Google satellite perspective, as well as a Google Street View of the incident location on the 100 block of Bosworth Street. Please note, the graphics and map are approximations and not shown to scale. We will now show body-worn camera and private video surveillance footage related to the officer-involved shooting. I will introduce each video prior to playing it. Body-worn camera footage was captured from department-issued body-worn cameras worn by members at the time of the event. Portions of these videos have been blurred due to the display of confidential law enforcement database images and graphic content. The first 30 seconds of body-worn camera footage does not contain audio. The camera has a buffering system that captures 30 seconds of video footage prior to the officer's activation of it. When activated by the officer, the camera records both audio and video. We are now going to play body-worn camera video footage from the first officer on scene who first contacts the 911 caller, the victim of the burglary. In this clip, the victim advises police that Mr. Barrios was still inside the property and confirms what color shirt he is wearing. The image of the victim's face has been blurred and their voice has been distorted to protect their privacy.
Where is he at?
Aquí adentro? Which door?
That's the front. It was a store before.
Yeah.
But this is the back
that him?
entrance. No, no.
So, hay una puerta abajo, bajando las escaleras?
Under the stairs. It's green door.
Hey, over here.
It's a green door. He's not going to go outside, okay? He's going to have to come out here.
He can go out that way.
He lives in
He's
apartment.
downstairs.
He lives in apartment.
All right, for RP, subject.
Not in the corner, okay?
Is gain entry to the back door on the rear of the building. So let's make it like side 3.
We'll be here real quick. Is the suspect wearing a red shirt and black pants?
¿Cómo está vestido él?
Red shirt. He was
Yeah,
like
red
window
shirt.
inside, the light went on. I saw him.
For the cat,
Code 33.
code 33 for Henry 74, go ahead.
Yeah. I told him he's wearing
Kenny,
red.
which side does the unit's window on?
It's back here on side 3. We're gonna treat this side 1, right? Oh, it's a guy. So he said.
We are now going to play private surveillance video footage of Mr. Barrios holding an axe and moving towards the victim's residence just prior to the alleged burglary. The camera is in the breezeway at the rear of the property. Please note that this video does not have audio and the camera was motion activated. The recording started at approximately 11:35 a.m., approximately 3 hours before the victim called 911. We are now going to play the body-worn camera video footage from the officer who made the initial contact with Mr. Barrios. The officer's body-worn camera shows Mr. Barrios emerging into the breezeway, armed with the firearm, holding it against the center of his chest. The officer provides numerous commands for Mr. Barrios to drop the firearm. Mr. Barrios drops the firearm on the ground, and it can be heard contacting the ground.
On the staircase out the back of Penny Club, leads directly to where the suspect gained access.
Hey, we got movement on 2-3. Hey! Drop the gun. Drop the gun. Hey, drop the gun. Drop the gun. Drop the gun. Come out. Turn around and come back to me. Turn around. Come back to me. Come back. Walk back to me. Walk back. Walk back. Let him know he dropped the gun. Come back to me. And put your hands up.
Hands on top of your head. Manos. Abajo.
Come back. Drop the bottles and come back to me. Come back.
Come back.
Come back. And don't reach for the gun. Come back. Drop. Come back to me. Come back.
Hands up here.
Drop the bottles. Turn around and come back. Come back to me. Don't reach for the gun. If you reach for the gun, I'm going to shoot you.
Amigo.
Come back.
Amigo.
Come back here. The gun's within reach distance, right at his right foot. Come back to me.
Manos. Aquí.
Come back. Don't reach for the gun or I'll shoot you.
Manos. Aquí.
Come back. Come back. Come back here. The gun's at his right foot. The gun's at his right foot on the ground. Come back. Come back to me.
Serio, ven con nosotros.
Everybody kill its room. Back up, back up, back up.
Serio, ven.
Back up.
Back up. Hey, who's gonna be grabbing?
Serio. Ven.
I don't have a line of fire through this.
Ven aquí afuera, serio. Hey.
Come back. Come back here. Come back to me.
Serio, ven aquí afuera. Milton, tus están aquí afuera también.
Come back.
Están aquí afuera.
Ven.
3-4 corner. 3-4 corner.
Ven acá.
Contact corner. 3-4 corner.
Guns at his right foot.
Gun is at his feet on the floor. He's got his phone. He's got 11.
Ven acá rápido para hablar.
We are now going to play an enhanced and synchronized video containing the body-worn camera video footage we just viewed, along with the private video surveillance video footage of the initial contact between Mr. Barrios and the officers on scene. A photo of the firearm recovered at the scene has been superimposed at 2 points to highlight its location. The audio provided from the segments is provided by the body-worn camera of the officer.
All right, hold on. Hey, we got movement on true 3. Hey! Drop the gun. Drop the gun. Hey, drop the gun. Drop the gun. Drop the gun. Come out. Turn around and come back to me. Turn around. Come back to me. Come back. Walk back to me.
We are now going to play enhanced private video surveillance footage of the initial contact between Mr. Barrios and the officers. A photo of the firearm recovered at the scene has been superimposed to highlight its location. We are now going to play enhanced private video surveillance footage showing Mr. Barrios unraveling a dollar bill containing suspected narcotics. We have also zoomed the image in at one point to focus on Mr. Barrios and his hand movements. Mr. Barrios appears to ingest the suspected narcotics multiple times through his nose. We are now going to play the body-worn camera video footage from an officer inside of the Bearcat. The video shows the crisis hostage negotiations team members and the qualified bilingual officer working to communicate with Mr. Barrios in Spanish. A translation of some of the communication used by the qualified bilingual officer has been added in the form of subtitles at the bottom of the screen. Images of the officer's cell phone have been blurred due to the display of confidential information. Some audio has been redacted to protect the identity of individuals.
Has he said anything?
No, the gun is by his feet, and he tried to reach for it once, and then he didn't.
So is he outside in the alleyway?
He's in the alleyway, right?
So they have eyes on him?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're basically just coaching him like, hey.
I'm just telling him to come out with hands up. We don't want to hurt. We just want to help him out. Don't touch the gun and just come out to the officers on the door so they can help you.
And do we know if they're responding at all? He's responding back to us at all?
He's under the influence. Okay. He's got his phone out, recording.
Okay, I mean, so he's kind of came out.
Is there a what?
So just rolling with it. You know.
He's standing right next to the gun.
So he's kind of compromised.
No.
So just keep reiterating like, hey, we're here to help. You know, we just want to just walk towards us so we can take care of this.
Con la mano arriba caminando donde nosotros. Solo queremos ayudarte. Lo que tienes que hacer es caminar hasta los oficiales para que ellos puedan ayudarte. Lo que queremos ayudarte, no toques la pistola, solamente camina para donde estamos nosotros.
But in general, cares about you, wants you to be safe.
Está aquí afuera y uno está preocupado por ti, igual que tu está acá también para que están preocupados por ti y lo que quieren es que esto termine todo tranquilo. So, deja la pistola en el piso, alza la mano y caminando hasta los oficiales.
When you're ready to bring up, that's when we'll play the TPI.
Okay. And what is it? And what's the relationship? Pretty good.
It's better. Yeah.
Should we try it? You know, just say, hey, we just spoke with you, and he's really worried about you, and you know he's out here and he wants to.
I told him that already.
Okay, so we have a TPI for him, so we could play that. Do you know if he responded to you at all when he talks about?
No, I've been in here, so I can see him.
Yeah, so we're kind of in the dark.
Yeah, that's like, if this car wasn't here, it would be better, but...
So you know what we'll do is just reiterate again that, you know, he's worried about you and...
Sergio, tu están aquí, tu hermano está preocupado por ti. Y lo que quiere es que te ayudemos, pero no te podemos ayudar, al menos que tengas las manos, salgas con nosotros, con las manos arriba, y deja la pistola en el piso y no la toques, por favor. Está esperando por ti, igual que...
Just let him know, you know, we have a video recording that we'd like you to listen to, and we'll play it. Might as well play it. It's not gonna hurt.
What's up, bud? He has the keys to that van.
I mean, Sergio, deja la pistola en el piso y camina hacia de nosotros. Estoy preocupado por ti, querés que esto termine todo tranquilo. Y nosotros también. So, sal para acá con las manos en alto para poder ayudarte. Deja la pistola en el piso y caminar hasta los oficiales.
We are now going to play body-worn camera video footage from an officer outside the gate near Mr. Barrios. The video shows the same crisis hostage negotiations team member and the qualified bilingual officer standing near the gate to the breezeway, attempting to communicate with Mr. Barrios in Spanish through a megaphone. The video also captures the officer's attempts to play a pre-recorded message from a family member for Mr. Barrios. The family member's voice has been distorted and some audio has been redacted to protect the identity of individuals. Subtitles are again provided for some of the communication.
Okay. Hey, es un mensaje, Sergio, para que lo escuches.
Is that prepped and ready to go? Go ahead when you guys are ready.
Mito, salí por favor, ¿verdad? No va a pasar nada, salí, solo quiero hablar contigo, que todo esté bien, todo va a estar bien. Sal, por favor. Para que no esté en peligro las demás personas. ¿Ok?
Hey, eso es lo que está diciendo uno, que quiere que salga para que te podamos ayudar. Nadie quiere hacerte daño, solo que queremos ayudarte.
Ok, Mito, salí por favor, ¿verdad? No va a pasar nada, salí, solo queremos hablar contigo, que todo esté bien, todo va a estar bien. Sal por favor, para que no esté en peligro las demás personas. ¿Ok?
Aquí está aquí en la esquina y quiere hablar contigo. Como te dije, lo que tienes que hacer es pararte y venir para nosotros.
We are now going to play enhanced body-worn camera video footage from an officer as Mr. Barrios takes off his rosary beads. The image has been zoomed in and focus has been directed at Mr. Barrios's hand movements.
I mean, serio. ¿Quieres hablar con uno?
Take it off the crucifix.
Take it off the crucifix.
Take it off the crucifix. Take it off the crucifix. He's taking off his rosary.
Hey, un mensaje, Sergio, para que lo escuches.
Make sure tag's not right side.
We are now going to play body-worn camera video footage from an officer that deployed a less lethal weapon. This video will be played in real time. The body-worn camera footage will show the officer in their position near the gate and the immediate actions leading up to and during the OIS incident. It also captures the actions of the officers on scene as they approach Mr. Barrios and request medical assistance from the San Francisco Fire Department Tactical Emergency Medics. Again, some audio has been redacted to protect the identity of individuals.
Todo el mundo está aquí esperando. Están aquí. Sal para acá y yo te llevo a donde ellos. Ven para acá y yo te llevo allá donde ellos. Pero mírame, te doy mi palabra de que te llevo acá. Solamente, no, hey, párate. No. Hey. Hey, do we deliver lethal?
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Let's go in there. We gotta move some aid here. Shots fired.
Go, go, go.
Go in, go in.
Got the medics in there? Medics. Secure the 221.
Get a medic up here. Secure the 221. Stick to the plan.
I got it covered.
We are now going to play the same body-worn camera video footage with enhancements. A photo of the firearm recovered at the scene has been superimposed and the image has been zoomed in to highlight its location. A photo of the keys located at the scene has also been superimposed to highlight their location. Superimposed graphics have been added to highlight the location and movement of these items during the incident. The footage has also been slowed and at times paused to allow the viewer to see these details.
Pero mírame, te doy mi palabra de que te llevo acá. Solamente, no, hey.
Red light.
Hey, do we deliver lethal?
We are now going to play private video surveillance footage, which offers a different vantage point of the incident with enhancements. Again, a reminder that this private surveillance camera does not capture audio. A photo of the firearm recovered at the scene has been superimposed, and the image has been zoomed in to highlight its location. A photo of the keys located at the scene has also been superimposed to highlight their location. We are now going to play body-worn camera video footage from the officer that discharged a department-issued patrol rifle. This video will be played in real time. The body-worn camera footage will show the officer as he was established in his position on the roof and his actions leading up to and during the OIS incident. Audio has been redacted to protect the identity of individuals.
Camina donde estamos nosotros, ya se va a terminar todo esto. Hey, mírame, ven para acá, ven. Ven para ayudarte. Y tu familia está aquí esperándote. Sí, tu familia. Están aquí. Sal para acá, yo te llevo donde ellos. Ven para acá, yo te llevo allá donde ellos. Pero mírame, te doy mi palabra de que te llevo acá. Solamente, no, hey, párate.
No. No.
Hey.
No, shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired. Yes. Shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired.
Yeah. Go.
I'm good.
Go in.
Good.
Hey, we're moving down. Under an A.
You went down.
We are now going to play body-worn camera video footage from another officer that deployed a less lethal weapon. This video will be played in real time. The body-worn camera footage will show the officer as he was established in his position near the gate and his actions leading up to and during the OIS incident. Audio has been redacted to protect the identity of individuals.
Serio, mírame. Serio. Mira para acá. Sal para acá para terminar esto. Hey, Sergio, mírame.
Hey, red light, red light.
Ven, camina para acá. Ya, alza las manos y camina para acá. Camina para donde nosotros. Camina para donde nosotros. Mira, estamos aquí cerca. Camina así mismo para acá. Sigue para acá. Ven, alza las manos. Con las manos arriba, camina para donde nosotros. Ven para acá. No estés agarrando nada, solamente camina. Pon la mano encima de la cabeza y camina para donde nosotros. Ven. Ya, ven para acá donde nosotros. Camina para Ven para acá así mismo tranquilo, lo estás haciendo bien. Solamente camina para donde nosotros. Ven para acá, estoy aquí, voy a estar aquí hasta que salga. No camines, camina hacia donde estamos nosotros acá. Así mismo con las manos arriba, camina hacia donde mí. Así mismo de espalda, camina hacia donde mí. Eso es lo que tienes que hacer. No, ven. No te sientes, solamente camina para acá, ya no podemos ir. Si caminas donde estamos nosotros, ya se puede terminar todo esto. Hey, mírame, ven para acá, ven. Ven para ayudar. Y tu familia está aquí esperándote. Sí, tu familia. Están aquí. Sal para acá y yo te llevo a donde ellos. Ven para acá y yo te llevo allá donde ellos. Pero mírame, te doy mi palabra de que te llevo acá. Solamente, no, hey, párate. No. Hey. Hey, you mean to deliver lethal?
Shots fired.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Let's go in there. We gotta deliver some aid here, all right?
Yeah. Go.
Our last video is the body-worn camera video footage from an officer that deployed a pepper ball chemical agent. This video will be played in real time. The body-worn camera footage will show the officer as he was established in his position on the roof and his actions leading up to and during the OIS incident. Audio has been redacted to protect the identity of individuals.
Sergio, mírame. Sergio, mira para acá. Sal para acá para terminar esto. Hey, Sergio, mírame.
Hey, red light, red light.
Ven, camina para acá. Ya, alza las manos y camina para acá. Camina para donde nosotros. Solamente camina para donde nosotros. Mira, estamos aquí cerca. Camina así mismo para acá. Sigue para acá.
Can't see shit.
Alza las manos. Con las manos arriba, camina para donde nosotros. Ven para acá. No estás agarrando nada, solamente camina. Pon la mano encima de la cabeza y camina para donde nosotros. Ven. Ya, ven para acá donde nosotros.
Can't see
Camina para
anything.
donde nosotros. Acá. Ven para acá así mismo tranquilo, lo estás haciendo bien. Solamente camina para donde nosotros. Ven para acá, estoy aquí. Voy a estar aquí hasta que salga.
Can't see him.
camina hacia donde estamos nosotros acá. Así mismo con la mano arriba, camina hacia donde vi. Así mismo de espalda, camina hacia donde vi. Eso es lo que tienes que hacer. No, ven. No te sientes, solamente camina para acá y ya no podemos ir. Si caminas donde estamos nosotros, ya se puede terminar todo esto. Hey, mírame, ven para acá, ven. Ven para ayudarte. Ahí está. Y tu familia está aquí esperándote. Sí, tu familia. Están aquí. Sal para acá y yo te llevo a donde ellos. Ven para acá y yo te llevo allá donde ellos. Pero mírame, te doy mi palabra de que te llevo acá. Solamente, no, hey, párate. No, no.
Shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired.
Good. Hey, we're moving. We are now going to share photographs of some pieces of evidence related to this incident taken by the San Francisco Police Department's Forensic Services Division. Photo number 1, the suspect's firearm. The photo on the left shows the firearm as located at the scene on the ground inside of the breezeway. The photo on the right is a close-up of the firearm in police possession. Photo number 2, keys. This photo shows a set of keys located at the scene on the ground of the breezeway. Photo number 3, bottles. This photo shows 2 bottles located at the scene. Photo number 4, breezeway entrance. This photo shows the entrance to the breezeway where the incident took place. Photo number 5, Bearcat position. This photo shows the position of the Bearcat relative to the breezeway entrance. Photo number 6, department-issued rifle. This photo shows the department-issued rifle used in this incident. Photo number 7, department-issued extended-range impact weapon. This photo shows one of the 2 department-issued extended-range impact weapons used in this incident. Photo number 8, department-issued pepper ball gun. This photo shows the department-issued pepper ball gun used in the incident. This concludes my presentation. I will now introduce Acting Captain Kevin Noble from the Ingleside Police Station.
Thank you. Afternoon, Chief. Good afternoon. I would first like to start by expressing my sympathy as well to the family of Mr. Barrios for their loss. As mentioned, I am the Kevin Noble, Acting Captain of Ingleside Station. Ingleside Station officers were first to respond to this incident. Since this incident occurred, I want to let you know I've been in touch with our city leaders and our community partners to keep them updated and address concerns. I expressed this as an isolated incident and there is no further public safety concerns. As we move forward, I will continue to make myself available to our neighborhood partners and the community, and will continue to address any questions or concerns they have. For those who have further questions and concerns, you can contact me at Ingleside Station. I also invite you to attend the Ingleside Station Community Meeting. The next one will be held Tuesday, June 20th at 6 p.m., where we can listen and discuss this incident or other matters of concern by the community. Thank you. I would like to welcome Chief Scott back to the podium.
Thank you, Acting Captain Noble and Commander Yep, for your presentations. At this time, we will open it up for questions or public comment.
The public comment portion of this town hall will now begin. The length of time for public comment will be 1 hour. To call into the meeting, please call 1-415-655-0001. Again, the number to call into the meeting is 1-415-655-0001. Please enter meeting code 25990076552. Access code is 7373. Each public comment caller will have up to 2 minutes to speak. If you wish to join the queue for public comment, please listen carefully to the following instructions. Interpretation is available in both Spanish and Cantonese. If you are watching on WebEx, you may click the interpretation button and select your preferred language. If you are calling into the meeting, again, please call 1-415-655-0001. Enter meeting code 25990076552. Access code is 7373. You may press star 3 to raise your hand to get in the queue to speak for public comment. You will be prompted when you have been unmuted and it is your turn to speak. Once again, each caller will have up to 2 minutes to provide public comment for this town hall meeting. Your 2 minutes will begin once you have been prompted that you have been unmuted and you begin speaking. Please be reminded, you must mute the broadcast you are watching in order for your public comment to be heard clearly. Again, if you are watching the broadcast online, please mute the broadcast or turn the volume down to prevent audio feedback so that your comment can be heard clearly. Moderators, at this time I ask you invite the first caller in to speak, if there are any. At this time, there are no callers in the queue, and I will reread the instructions. To call into the meeting, please call 1-415-655-0001. Again, the number to call into the meeting for public comment is 1-415-655-0001. Please enter meeting code 25990076552. Access code is 7373. You may press star 3 to raise your hand to get in the queue to speak for public comment. You will be prompted when you have been unmuted and it is your turn to speak. Once again, each caller will have up to 2 minutes to provide public comment for this town hall meeting. Your 2 minutes will begin once you have been prompted that you have been unmuted and you begin speaking. At this time, we have one caller in the queue, and I invite the moderator to open that up for the caller.
Yes, I just want to say thank you to SFPD. You have a hard job, and I want you to stay safe and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Caller.
At this time, we have one caller in the queue, and I invite the moderator to open that up for the caller.
Good afternoon. Very interesting presentation. I appreciate all the detail that was given. I do ask about the overall policy of the police department in terms of weapons that might have been deployed there. There were 4 weapons used. All seemed to be discharged almost instantaneously upon Mr. Barrios reaching for the handgun. But I do wonder about the degree of lethality of the weapons. We had pepper balls, 2 foam baton weapons, and a rifle. And it seemed that do you have a general policy as to whether you want to just start and say, okay, if he does something, we can hit him with the batons and maybe do something that doesn't kill the man? Or do you say if he reaches for the gun, you're going to shoot him and it's on him? So it seems like the mix didn't really make sense to me. It seemed to me that it should be like one way or the other. Could you please speak to that, Chief Scott? Thank you.
Thank you, caller, for your question. So our General Order 5.01 is our use of force general order, and it prescribes less lethal, which is the pepper ball and the 40 millimeter foam baton round. It also prescribes how we deploy those particular less lethal instruments. And part of the policy, it's on our website, by the way, sanfranciscopolice.org. Just in the search, type in policy, and you can find all of our policies on our website. But that particular policy also speaks to deployment of less lethal, like the beanbag or the 40 millimeter foam baton. It also talks about the requirements of a lethal cover officer. So anytime we deploy a less lethal weapon, we also have to deploy a lethal cover officer. And the reason for that is if the less lethal doesn't fail, or if it doesn't reach its desired outcome, which is to stop whatever is going on, then that lethal cover officer is there. So the policy is there. Thank you for your question. It does lay it out. There is no time prescription because it's really almost impossible to dictate a time prescription of this goes first, this goes second. You have to really, the situation dictates really what happens from there. But it is a good question, and thank you. And I hope if you look at the policy, you can at least understand what the requirements are. Thank you for your question.
At this time, we have no callers in the queue, and I will reread the instructions for public comment. To call into the meeting, please call 1-415-655-0001. Again, the number to call into the meeting is 1-415-655-0001. Please enter meeting code 25990076552. Access code is 7373. Each public comment caller will have up to 2 minutes to speak. If you wish to join the queue for public comment, please listen carefully to the following instructions. Interpretation is available in both Spanish and Cantonese. If you are watching on WebEx, you may click the interpretation button and select your preferred language. If you are calling into the meeting, again, please call 1-415-655-0001. Enter meeting code 25990076552. Access code is 7373. You may press star 3 to raise your hand to get in the queue to speak for public comment. You will be prompted when you have been unmuted and it is your turn to speak. Once again, each caller will have up to 2 minutes to provide public comment for this town hall meeting. Your 2 minutes will begin once you have been prompted that you have been unmuted and you begin speaking. Please be reminded, you must mute the broadcast you are watching in order for your public comment to be heard clearly. Again, if you are watching the broadcast online, please mute the broadcast or turn down the volume to prevent audio feedback so that your comment can be heard clearly. Moderators, at this time, I ask you to invite in any callers to speak. At this time, we have no callers in the queue. At this time, there are no public comment callers in the queue, and we will conclude the town hall meeting.